Hi, Zizaran here with another video, and today we're going to do like a quick tutorial on the Season of Blood Vampiric Powers, how to obtain them, what they do, and drops, etc. These blood powers are actually pretty impressive, so they're really good designed. In the same way, they have to make really tough choices in Path of Exile's Atlas tree, because there are so many cool paths. You'll also find that here with Vampiric Powers. You're always going to miss out on something that you really want to run. And as you can see in the background, that red beam that's shooting out of my character and one-hitting the screen is one of the blood powers and something you can get very early. So if we look at the map, we can see that we have the red Helltide here, and then we have the green Helltide, or the Season of Blood, here. Let's port here, and you can also see that there are 3 like whisper quests as well, and these are so easy, and you'll basically be continuously filling up your tree of whispers while engaging with the league mechanic, which is really good because it makes it even more good to do. And the Trio Whispers gives you so much gold. I've like had no gold problems this entire season so far. So let's run in, and yeah, there it is. Like just from me mounting up, me trying to use a portal, anything triggers this like blood passive, like attacking anything, and it's yeah pretty much one-shotting every small enemy. And if you thought that damage was crazy, it gets better. This thing is also, on top of that, it is leeching and giving me health. So yeah, there's a lot of like small quests that you can do and stuff in this area. There will be some structures you can destroy. You can see some of the quests here: slay blood reavers, kill blood seekers, and save villagers. Sometimes there'll be like, yeah, destroy structures that you have to do as well. But yeah, a bunch of small quests, and they like add up pretty quick and give you the whisper stuff. There's a seeker key. You get a lot of those, way more than you will get enough chests for. And it's a really good way to gear between going world tiers, because you can get them in world tier 1 or 2 and then use them in world tier 3 or 4. So if you're struggling in hardcore or something, grab a cheat death potion and go open some chests. That is one way to do it. Let's see if we find a chest somewhere. Here's one. Kill the monsters and boom. Get a decent amount of loot. You can see that's quite good. And we get some pacts. We'll cover like the items and what they do later. And then tracking these can be quite good. So here we have Sanguine Blood Altars. And what this does is basically, I don't usually recommend using these, however. But what it does is it summons, if you're a Path of Exile player, it's like a rogue exile. So it's like a corrupted version of one of the classes. So a corrupted or vampiric necro, vampiric rogue, etc. And we have to kill them. And they have pretty decent drops. Too hard to dispose of. There. And yeah, decent amount of stuff. Oh, my inventory's full. And they also drop potent blood, which is going to be pretty useful for one of the things we're going to do later. So here you can see 3 Bloodlore pedestals. And what this does, well, you can see for yourself. It starts a big encounter with a fight, a bunch of normal monsters, and honestly, your Hemo Pact thing will just take care of those very, very quickly and kill everything for you. Then they'll spawn some of the Seekers, the Exile things. Then they'll spawn kind of like 3 Ancients, or yeah, they are very similar to the Ancients in Diablo 2, I find. They're like kind of like super Seekers and kind of like mini bossy. There'll be like a bar at the top. They can be a little bit dangerous. We did actually almost have one of the guys in our party die, and this encounter is incredibly rewarding. Just look at those loot explosions. Like, it's a lot of stuff dropping. So really, really worth doing, and this is way more worth it in a group. It actually would be horrible to do solo. And if you have 4 people, obviously it's a lot easier to just bring 50 each. But there's recursion in this mechanic. So what that means is that while you're doing the mechanic, you're getting more bloodlore back. So very, very strong, because you can basically keep doing it. Because while you're using 50, you're getting like 30 back. So if you have 4 people, you'll have to gather a lot less. Now if you're very lucky and you have like 5, 6, 7, 8 people doing it that are just in the zone and everyone's doing it together, you can just keep doing it. You just keep spamming this and your inventory will fill up very quick. Like, you basically get 1 inventory full of stuff after each time almost. If you only pick up legendaries, then every 2 or 3. They're incredibly strong, and you get a lot of the renown, and you get a lot of potent blood that you need to upgrade. So now let's go look at the different blood powers and how it works, etc. And before you can unlock any of this, there is a quest that you do have to do in Ked Bardu. It's actually there, and you'll have to do some sort of like small quest. It's pretty easy to follow. And once you've done that, you'll be able to like unlock blood powers. But once you have your blood powers, let's look at them. There's quite a lot of good ones. First, I can show what I'm using. So I have casting skills, heals you for 3% of life. Double this if you're below 50. So this works with my hemomancy, which is just, I basically full heal every 4 seconds. Lucky hit, up to 44% chance to inflict vampire curse on enemies, and afflicted enemies have 15% chance to spread it. They does come with sort of like a Val skill if you're familiar with that in Path of Exile, but it's basically you're eating the souls of your enemies and then unleashing an explosion if you use a defensive, macabre, or agility skill. Now, I don't really use any of those, so I'm not actually ever using that part of it, sadly. So I just have this for the vampire curse, which is useful because of this thing. Increased damage over time to enemies that are moving or affected by vampire curse, which is good for my poison imbuement. I also have basically permanent fortify and additional crit from this. And yeah, pretty strong vampiric powers. Let's look at some of the other ones. Deal damage to enemies that are stunned. Conjuration gets a chance to restore primary resource and increases your damage. Hitting enemies will inflict them with pox. So this is really good if you're like attacking very rapidly with high attack speed. And hopefully you can scale this damage pretty decently. The ultimate gets a cooldown recovery and more damage if they've affected others by damage over time. Damage reduction for each 2% life missing, which is quite nice. More damage to vulnerable enemies. I will be, I think I will be doing that once I have exploit. 20% chance to increase your attack speed by 20% of your movement speed. Very strong. Every 5 basic skills you cast, one of your active cooldowns is reduced by 1. There's only 1 of your active cooldowns, so I'm not a huge fan of that. Your attacks deal 80% of your max life with fist damage. This is why Hemo is so strong. You can scale it with like just getting loads of life. You can scale it with things like damage to healthy enemies, etc. So yeah, it's doing a lot of damage for me. More like minion damage and vampire curse. When struck, 7% chance to fear enemies. A barrier while standing still. Thorns damage. Very, very cool that we can do more thorn stuff. Evade grants you unstoppable. Very nice. So you can see like there's quite a lot of good choice here. So honestly, this season mechanic, very well designed because you're not really getting what you want. You feel like you're missing out of things, and I think that's the best thing, best design choice you can ever possibly have. It's like, man, I really want to have this thing, but I can't get that. So they've absolutely done that really good. This is really cool for getting more attack speed with using basic skills. Really good for something using combo points. Summons a bat familiar that does damage and attempts to stun. This is an attempt to make channeled skills less bad, but they're kind of inherently bad by being channeling. 44% chance to inflict vampire curse. That's the one I'm using. And when your core skills overpower, you spawn volatile drops, and every 30 seconds you get a guaranteed overpower. So pretty cool. And the way you get these is you click this button here, and then you're just choosing like a loot box type scenario. Which one do you want to update? And they go all the way to level 3. This has been nerfed already because at launch they went up to at least level 5. We don't know if they kept going 6, 7, etc. I did think that was pretty cool because, as you can see, I've already maxed all the blood powers I'm using already, and we're not even a full day in yet. So that is a little sad, but I kind of get it. It is hard to balance that scaling infinitely. But also, since the game isn't really in a state right now, in my opinion, where it's not something you're going to get 1,000 hours out of this season very easily, right? Compared to a lot of RPGs. So I think it's kind of okay that it's like kind of overpowered and scales very fast. That's fine. I think they could have maybe like nerfed it a little bit and had it like take longer to unlock. But either way, I quite like the system. It's been very fun. Lots of cool choices to play with. And you do need to have pacts on your gear. So you can see they have either relics, skulls, or crowns. And they're pretty easy to like play around with. You can use like a scouring or cleanser, like bleach for your gear, whatever you want to call it. And it looks like this. You can basically use that bottle on it and it'll bleach it. And then you can pick whatever you want on it. So it's very, very easy to get exactly what you want, and you get those from the chests. Pretty good mechanic. Enjoyed quite a lot. And you do have to do your season's journey as well to keep progressing this. So the first and second ones you'll probably get done without even looking at it, especially when it's not bugged. You can see that I haven't reached level 25 yet. There was a bug early, and yeah, they've still not fixed it. So technically, if you'd done too much early, you might have been stuck there. And then there are some extra ones past that, which just gives you more reward. Shadow Vampire title. Very cool. So yeah, honestly, really, really good. Impressed with the season so far. And especially for me, so for those that don't know, I've planned to play it for around a week, and then I'm going to play Baldur's Gate 3 with my friend Steel. So this is like perfect, right? Because it doesn't have an insane amount of stuff yet. Everybody's obviously waiting for expansions for more bosses and things to do. But this was a perfect addition because it really broke up the leveling so far, where I was doing Helltides, I was doing dungeons, I was doing Green Helltide, and yeah, really, really enjoyable. So that part, yeah, like really, really good. And while it's not something that is going to last like months, very perfect for what I wanted to do. So I'm already at World Tier 4. I've done the Capstone Dungeon. And yeah, that is what we're looking at. So hopefully this tutorial helps you. Thanks so much for watching. Sub if you liked the video. But more importantly, try to die less than I do.